the more I do this job as a celebrant, the more important I come to realize ritual is within that. And that doesn't have to mean traditional ritual. A ritual is that moment where you do something, hand over something, sign something, light something, bury something, say some words, create an action that connects that moment to that issue and signifies either a beginning or an end or a change of direction. And I think that ritual is so important in our life, and it helps us to step over the obstacles or the fences or step over them in a and and separate them. And that doesn't mean forget them, it means define them. Yeah, it's really important to define things that are important to us in our lives and create something around them that helps us make sense of them in our minds. And I find that if you don't do that, and the last few years has become really that's become really important, made it really highlight it really. If you do not get the chance to do that, and in COVID people didn't get the chance to do that, they didn't get the chance to say goodbye in the way they wanted, they didn't get the chance to acknowledge how important certain people were or how tragic the moment was. And I think that what we will find over the next few years is that we have a lot of PTSD as a result of not having had the opportunity to ritualize those moments that really matter. And that doesn't mean you have to do something in a big way. It really doesn't. But it does mean that you have the opportunity to say something at that moment and enact something at that moment or at a different moment in relation to that moment that helps your brain make sense of it. It's really hard to come to terms with grief and loss if you don't ever get to say goodbye. It's like it didn't happen. Your brain will play tricks on you. I mean, I'm just trying to think back. When I was a child, my grandparents died at different times from natural causes, old age predominantly. And each time one of them died, I didn't go to the funeral. My family thought that children and funerals didn't belong together. We didn't see them very often in life. We maybe saw them a couple of times a year. So knowing they died and understanding what that meant and accepting that they were not there never really happened in my life. And I think that this misconception that children don't belong at end of life is not wrong, because there is no right or wrong. I think it's because we have created this separation between and detachment and kind of cloud, mist, veil around death. Death is a really normal part of life. We're all born. Some of us get married, but we all talk about marriage. Some of us get divorced. We all talk about divorce. Some of us graduate. We all talk about graduation. Some of us have children. We talk about celebrating children. All of us die. And we should talk about death. But it has become this thing, this hushed, understood, detached thing that other people deal with that we don't talk about. And I think that is why we're so fearful of it. And that is why we are so detached from it. And I think, isn't it awful that something that is going to affect every single one of us, even if we isolate ourselves from everybody else and had no friends and no family and no connections, we ourselves will die. Death will come to every single one of us, and to live our life in fear of the end is a really sad thing. We need to have the conversations that bring it back into our control, into our understanding, into our normality, so it's less frightening. The industry has taken it away from us. It used to be, if you go back far enough, it was the women, the matriarchs within a community who sat with the dying, who comforted the family, who washed the body, who prepared the body. People would sit in vigil with the body. The family would the deceased would be in the home. People would sit around and talk to the deceased. The children would witness that. And I think that we need to be aware of that.